Hey guys, we are live.
Hey everybody, hey everybody. What's going
I
on?
don't,
So
Instagram just be acting so crazy.
I'm actually looking for you in Facebook right now, trying to see did it come up on your page yet? Let me see. I don't see anything yet. It
Yeah,
should
it's
come.
live. I see it.
Okay, let me
We're live.
refresh. Okay. All right. There we go. We live.
Oh, and Instagram is.
Yeah, it's live. I see it.
I hear myself. So what do I need
Yeah.
to do? Oh, because
Nah, I just turn
my
it.
audio is on my computer, or that was you.
Nah, I just turn it down. Yeah, that was me.
Okay. Hey guys, happy Tuesday. It's Tuesday.
It is.
Today has been eventful.
It has been eventful, man. Just to everybody, man, we are we are in Mexico right now, man, and we for the first time, man, we rode the bus in Mexico. Uh, it was definitely a crazy experience, man. Like I don't know, man.
The bus itself wasn't crazy. You thought it was crazy?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't crazy like that. It's just a thing of like, you know, how we were able to, get on the bus, what we had to do, which it wasn't a bad process, but it's just like, we in another country on the bus, you know what I'm saying? And they looking at us like,
What y'all
what's
doing
up?
on here?
So
We
it
didn't
just,
look like we belonged.
we didn't look like we belonged at all, but we made it through though. We made it through, so that was cool, man. But yeah, man. So um, we are starting this series. I think we've been talking about it for a long time. We tried, well, I won't say we tried to do it, but we did it before Kingdom Business. So,
I will say we tried because that was when we were payback heavily working nonstop. And so we tried but we just didn't have time.
yeah,
So
we didn't have time, but we got time. We got time today. So,
we
how about
got
that?
time today.
We got time today. So, I want you to tell the viewers what Kingdom Business consists of.
That's a good question. If I had to define it, kingdom business is having conversations around how to be citizens of the kingdom here while you're on earth. Because if you bought that life and you claim that life, it should look a certain way, right? So, being citizens of the kingdom here so that, when it's time to go, you already know how to live that life. Cuz I don't think it's definitely not an overnight thing, right? So, practicing having those kingdom, and when we say kingdom, we're talking about heaven, having those practices of what does it look like to really wear this badge of Christianity or, being a believer. What does that look like and how do you live that out here on earth?
Not only just that, yeah, and you're definitely right, but not just only that, how to do it and run a successful business. You know what I'm saying? I
That
think
part.
a lot of people, it is hard to, you know, it's hard to put yourself out with both. You know what I'm saying? We've been doing this thing for since 2018, 2018 with
Yeah.
Paymac, and it's definitely been a journey, man. And the crazy thing about it is, God has been seeing us through the whole entire way with this. So, and I mean, I don't know about you, but I never thought that we would be entrepreneurs and doing this thing, man. But here we are.
Here we are. We made it through. They say what once you make it past 5 years, you good.
Yeah,
For the most part. For the most part, we
for the
made
most
it
part.
through the hurdles. We're still technically a startup because by definition, a startup is 10 years or 2 million in revenue or something like that. So we are not at that part yet, the revenue part. We're still working towards that goal, but we definitely, we've been in this thing. We've learned a lot. Thank
We
God.
have learned a lot. We have learned a lot, and with that, it's a thing where it's like, okay, how can we consistently improve? And that's the thing that we were asking God back in 2003. 2003. At the end of 2003, I mean
23. I was about
2023.
to
I'm
say,
sorry,
I know we known each other for a
2023.
long time, Ken, but
I'm sorry, 2023. We were asking God, how can we elevate the
yeah.
business, and you know, like I'm like, how did we end up in Mexico? You know what I'm saying?
Whew, that's a story for another day. Long story short, you are such a husband in making sure that I have everything I need. And for me, right now in this season, my need was peace, no stress, all of the things I probably would not find in the United States anytime soon. And so, when I got the diagnosis, you were like, "What's up? What you want to do?" And I'm like, "Okay." And again, I'm always gonna forever shout out Bernadette because she lived her life out loud to give me an option to say, "Oh, she looks like she's living her best life in Mexico, and Mexico cleared up her health, so maybe it could do the same thing for me. So why not?" So
Yeah,
we're here.
and that was a crazy thing because, for you guys that don't know, we own a digital marketing agency. We do photography, videography, all things front end, but we also behind the scenes did the back end. So that's where you get the back end bestie, where that comes from, and through the years, we were helping our clients with their processes, not just only in the front end with their content, but we were also helping them with the back end as well. So that was a thing where it's like, okay, not only was your health kind of, I won't say failing. It was just going through a transitional period. That's what we're gonna say. It was a transitional period. But yeah,
Yeah.
so not only was that going on, but also we were trying to figure out, man, how can we do something that will allow us to scale?
Yeah.
We had consistently made, six figures in our business, and all glory be to God, man, because I know a lot of, videographers and photographers and anybody that's doing creative, man, like it's hard, man. It's hard to make six figures in your business, man. So,
Yeah.
we were looking for something like that or whatever, and I really wanted you to get back on a consultant, like all the way. So, what made you what made you take that leap of faith to do that? Matter of
To
fact,
what?
matter, matter, matter,
Quit consulting in the
Matter
first
of
place?
fact, let's take it back now, like, because I don't think a lot of people understand that you have credentials. You know what I'm saying? You were certified to do this. You know what I'm saying? You were certified to do this. Now you've done it
Yeah.
for corporate America. You know what I'm saying? Fortune
Yeah.
500 companies, helping them with their process. And you were doing it for small businesses, and you also went to school for it. Can you,
Yeah.
elaborate on that?
Yes. Leave it up to you to always try to make me go down memory lane. But
Hey,
yes.
man.
So so I am a Lean Six Sigma green belt. So I hold a certification that really is all about processes. How can you be more lean? How can you practice waste management? Meaning that you're not just being reckless in the things that you're doing, you're putting strategy behind it, you're putting process behind it. So I studied that, boom. Then I got my master's in executive leadership, sorry. And that allowed me to just understand a little bit better, interdepartmental communication and how those things work together. And really, that was before we even thought about having a business. So it was funny because I was learning about all that stuff before I knew I needed it. I really did all these things to climb the corporate ladder because my goal was always to become a CEO because I know that I'm capable. And God, He has a sense of humor. He was like, "Yeah, you're gonna be a CEO, all right, but it's not gonna be for somebody else." And so we were fortunate enough to get clients for our business, clients who trusted me with their business, even though on paper it's not like I was running businesses at that time. But like you said, my corporate America experience, working in departments, creating training programs for departments, launching IVRs and just different things, recovering hundreds of thousands of dollars. And all of this was through processes, like making sure, okay, what can we do better? That's always the question. You know, I'm a solutionist. So
Boy,
even in my person even in
argue,
my
boy.
personal life, it's like, let's stop talking about the problem. What are we gonna do about it? Right. So that's kind of how we got here. And I'm honestly, I thought about that the other day. Like, I'm really blessed to be able to use my gifts and talents to make money, because I know that that's a lot of people struggle. Like, they're so gifted and talented in different things, but they have to be working in a whole different field, or just doing something else. And so I'm personally grateful that God has allowed me to use a gift that I didn't even think was a gift. Like,
Yeah.
I still don't think it's a gift. I'm just like, okay, yeah. I look at things and I'm like, okay.
Well, let me tell you something. If the clients had me in their back end, bruh, a lot of that stuff would not get done, man. I'm telling you. I mean, it does take a certain type of mind, you know what I'm saying, to be, that analytical, where you see things that could be improved. You know what I'm saying? Like, far as like photography or videography or anything like that, I look at things and I say, oh, okay, yeah, maybe we could change this particular thing on a flyer or do anything like that. But, essentially, the front end of a business is really kind of like bells and whistles. Of course, you need it. You need it to draw people in. But the component that you have that is so important is the customer experience. You know what I'm saying? Is it a good customer experience? You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, and that's why I felt like it was so good that we combined these forces. You know what I'm saying? And did this because it's like, okay, I care deeply about how the clients look and present themselves, and you care so deeply about how the customer journey, so the client will have a good retention. You know what I'm saying? So I think that it paired well. And the funny thing is, I was your first client.
You were my first client, but again, that was all God's design, because I was so focused on corporate America, and you're like, okay, I want to start this business, and I'm like, okay, I'll help you. I
Yeah.
could research and figure out all the things, make us official. I mean, we got certifications for our business.
Oh man.
But I didn't come from entrepreneurship, you know what I mean? In that sense, you did. So this was a lane that I feel like you would have eventually landed in. For me, I was like, okay, how can I make this company better? You know what I mean? Like, and so I feel like in God's divinity, like his providence, I'm really learning a lot about that. Like, God really got this stuff set up, and the things that you're doing in your life, you don't realize that it really is for something else sometimes, until you get to that place. And sometimes you still don't realize it unless you're being aware, that, oh, that's why I went through that 5 years
Yeah.
ago, or that's why I had to learn that 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So you being my first client allowed me to say, oh, okay, I could form a business. And then I had to go get customers, because you didn't get no customers. I'm like, well, this your business.
No, player, that ain't my thing, man. Y'all still see, and I'm in the chat right now. I got my name on there, but I ain't got no pictures. I ain't got none of that. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because I'm a photographer again and a videographer, but I still don't, And I'm trying to get better with that because I understand that you have to put yourself out there, not just put yourself out there for you to get the glory or anything to get the praise or whatever. But if you are saying that you are a business that is what I would say employed by God, and you do have kingdom business. The Bible teaches us to allow our light to shine before men, so that they can see our good works and that they can they could glorify our Father in heaven. So my thing is, it's like putting yourself out there. It's nothing wrong with that. I do think that we have to start, start creating these conversations. You know what I'm saying? Start to make sure that you are allowing your expertise to show a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I think that will allow people to see, oh, okay, this person got something to say. Everybody, you know, if we think about this, like everybody, what are you doing it for? You trying to get a million people? Are you trying to get 2 million people? Everybody has influence. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the thing is like, in your sphere of influence, how are you affecting change? You know what I'm saying? Are you just sitting on your hands? Are you just, doing your business and, going home? And I think that's the biggest thing why, I told you, I'm like, man, we got to do this kingdom business, man, because
Yeah.
I do feel like, it's a lot of other entrepreneurs out there that are, that need that hope and say, oh, okay, man, I was going through the same thing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And to that point, there's so many people who are not touched, right?
Oh man.
Because you're hiding your light. Like I'm very guilty. I'm very guilty. I know I need to be out here in these streets a lot more. You know what I mean? And that's really because there are really people on this earth that only you can reach. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like the skill that you have, the gift that you have can touch their lives in a way to change their lives. You know what I mean? So it's like when you're not putting yourself out there, ultimately it's kind of selfish.
It is
If
kind
we're
of
being
selfish.
honest, it's kind of selfish because once again, as we know, marketing is just brand awareness. It's just to allow people to realize that you're here, you exist, this is what you do. Sales is a totally different thing. You know what I mean? So your first obligation really as a business owner is to market. And we have these platforms that is such a blessing really and truly because years ago, many years ago, you would have had to have tens of thousands of dollars to buy ad space or radio space, you know what I mean? TV space, whatever. So the fact that we could really just pick up our phones on a platform that's still free and tell people about your business, show them your business. You get what I'm saying? It's like to not take advantage of it is a disservice to not only yourself, but really to the people that you need to be helping. So I'm trying to do better. This is me preaching to myself. So we gonna do this together. We gonna do better together.
Yeah, we definitely got to do better together. I do agree with you about the marketing thing, but I do feel like before you start a business or anything, man, make sure you observe. Make sure you really weigh the cost that is gonna take. You know what I'm saying? That may be time. That may be money. That may be anything. Like you need to know what you're getting yourself into because once you get yourself into it, man, like if you don't continue with what you're doing, you allow another person to come in and ridicule you if you don't continue with what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? And I think
Right.
that's the biggest thing when, we started this business. We started with a friend. A friend allowed us to, do their videos or whatever. And,
Shout out to Alicia, Brighter Affair. Shout out, hey girl.
yeah, shout out to Alicia, man, because she did take a chance on that. We definitely were there for 4 hours. So she definitely ride or die, man. But yeah, I mean, even with that, you know what I'm saying? Like it took us, a couple of hours, to do our first video, but. I waited and I'm like, man, I like this. You know what I'm saying? It was something new. It was something fresh. I didn't go to school for it. So I was in audio and I wanted to change. So I'm like, all right, man, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be good, man. And I knew that I didn't want to do the mundane stuff, like the little tedious tasks. I mean, I hated that. You know what I'm saying? So
And I love it.
yeah, and that's why I said, like, you were the automation. You were my back end Bessie before back end Bessie. You know what I'm saying? And that was the biggest thing. So it's like when you get into this business, man, if you haven't started your business or you are in your first couple of years, man, like really weigh what it's going to take, man. Weigh what it's going to take, man, because in order to, perform well and do everything that you need to do, it's gonna take a little bit of it's gonna take a lot of discipline and a little bit of sacrifice. So are you prepared
Yeah.
to give it your all?
Yeah, you basically just broke down run the play for the people. And then but that's so true. You know what I mean? Like once you've identified what the idea is that you have, there's a process. And I think that's why I'm so passionate about processes, because people skip the process all the time. There's like a thing that's like, oh, okay, just, do it and then it'll come together eventually. Yes and no. You know what I mean? Like definitely start, right? Because you don't want to spend too much time planning and then that's gonna, if you plan and you keep trying to refine that plan, you may never start, right? So there is such thing as that. But my problem, go ahead. What?
No, go
What you
ahead,
gonna
go
say?
ahead.
Oh,
No, I was just
my
laughing at what you
problem.
were saying. I was laughing at what you were saying because like you said, if you plan, you could plan yourself up out of a business. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
you
so,
can. You can. And I mean, but there is also such thing as making sure that your ducks are in a row to an extent where when you launch, you have a good starting point, right? Because it's 2024. So, the days of the DMing back and forth to handle business transactions, that's dead. It should be dead. There's no reason why anybody should be doing that. You know what I mean? And so I think for me, I'm passionate about processes because it's like there is a better way. It's a better way for you. It's a better way for your customer. And when you're able to present that better way, everybody's life is better, honestly. And you really should be concerned about your life first as a business owner, because you cannot service your customer well if you have poor processes. Even with the marketing, it's people marketing every single day, going hard in the paint marketing, but their back end is jacked up. So when
oh
that
man,
customer finally decides to shop with you, it's it's a bad experience. So you just wasted all this energy and time. Now you got a refund. You got to do this. You have to figure out how to get them their stuff, or how to, you know what I mean? Like there's a better way. You don't have to live like that. And
it
there's no
ain't.
shot at anybody. It's just real talk, you
It ain't
know?
even just really a bad, experience for the customer, man. It's a bad experience
For you.
for you because I mean,
Yeah.
you have think about it. You have this great product, you launch, and then you get a whole bunch of sales, and it's like, okay, how realistically, how will I be able to fulfill these orders and do it in a timely manner and keep up with all of the demands and keep up with all the conversations and everything. You know, one guy, one of my partners told me, he was like one of his elders was telling him, "Hey man, men was not meant to multitask. That was for computers. So we made computers to be able to multitask. We give it
Right.
direction and it's able to do just different processes to make our life a little bit easier. So it's
Right.
like we have all this access to AI and all this technology or whatever, and you think about it, just like with the internet. As soon as the internet came out, what is this internet? What is this email? What is this all this stuff? Now you can't live without your email. You can't live without your smartphone
The
and all these different
internet,
things. The
Google.
internet.
Oh my goodness. Yes,
Yeah. So it's
that's
like,
true.
don't be on the other side of this train, man, because we all have been, we all have allowed, a certain era to pass us by, man. And it's like, okay, we could be more efficient.
Yeah.
2025, we could definitely be more efficient and proficient in our business and have that thing running on, autopilot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And get your time back so that you can affect change in another area in your life.
That's true. And again, there's a better way. I think ultimately that's what we all trying to get to. I know for me though, if I'm being honest, even though I love processes and systems and all the things, I was still, even for my clients, I was doing so many manual things like automation, the access that we have to it. is huge now, because I mean, I was setting up workflows and all that stuff, but it was taking me hours, and it was taking me 12 different platforms to do one process or workflow. You get what I'm saying? And so to be able to now be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna just develop this, I'm gonna put this together, I'm gonna integrate this software with this software, because that's what we did. That's what I did. Integrating the softwares to make it make sense for the customer is what has allowed me to have a soft life, okay? And not work as many hours, because I'm a worker bee by nature. I'm going to probably always be a worker bee, right? But I have learned how to time manage that worker bee in me to say, okay, if I'm going to spend this amount of hours, it needs to be spent figuring out how I could automate this. Straight up.
Of
You know
course.
what I mean? So now is a one and done. I could replicate that for any client, and then I can move on to figuring out how to solve the next problem with automation. So I've honestly enjoyed that process. And I think now I'm just on a mission to help people learn that it's a better way, because I was not using the better way. It probably existed longer than I've been using it. You know what I mean? But ever since I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try to trust this process and figure out how I can really take advantage of automations, because again, just like the internet, just like marketing, we didn't have access to these things. To build automations costs 10,000, 20,000, 100,000. It doesn't have to be all that anymore. You know what I mean? Sorry, y'all, we got kids, so that's probably never gonna change the noise. But long story short, I don't even know where I was going with this, but I really can honestly say moving to Mexico was one part of my life becoming better, my health becoming better, but really and truly taking advantage of technology has greatly improved my life
I
and the
like
lives of others.
definitely. I like what you said. Like, I think in business, man, like, especially if you are working not only for yourself, but you're working for the kingdom. Like, we have to be aware, man. We always have to ask God for discernment, because sometimes God is giving you He's like, hey, I'm trying to push you to do something, and we are, so reluctant to do it, and
Yeah.
2 years can go by, and then somebody else come in and say, hey, you need to do such and such, whatever, and you've been thinking about it, and then you put it out for another year, and then by the time that you get it, it's like, man, I could have had this like 5 years ago. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, I think that we have to really be aware. Even if you're not following God, like, you have to be aware of the change. Look at Blockbuster. They thought streaming. What you mean streaming? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they were looking at Netflix, all type of crazy. You know what I'm saying? Netflix asked them, like, hey, look, man, I want to do this partnership with you guys. You know what I'm saying? Here's X amount of dollars to do this partnership. They laughed them out of the
I know they're
out
kicking
of the building.
themselves.
Oh man, they don't have a they don't have a shoe to kick themselves with. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, literally, like, they really
Yeah.
don't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a
And that's what's
thing.
going to happen to small businesses today. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No,
I'm
no,
working
go
on
ahead.
not
Go
cutting
ahead.
people off.
No, go ahead.
That's exactly what's happening to small businesses now. Honestly, like a lot of small businesses are experiencing drought right now, because in order for you to consistently make income, you have to reach a large number of people every single day. To get that one yes, you got to go through a lot of people. For every business is different, right? For every industry is different. But really and truly, we don't have the capacity as a person to reach that many people every single day to make sure that you're continuously converting. And so that's another reason why automations are so important and using technology is so important in your business, because you can have on rotation emails, text messages, all the things that are needed to go out to the mass number of people after you've collected them, of course, through leads and all of that good stuff. But to be able to continue communicating with them, like even with Paymac, like, you know, I literally was like, I would love to scale Paymac, but the way life is set up, we need certain types of people on the team. And the people that we did like their work, they have their own business. And so, how you had that conversation, hey man, stop your business and come work for us. Like, so that didn't seem realistic. And then it's like, okay, I don't want to market. I can't afford to market for Paymat because if we get one more client, we're not going to be able to service them correctly because we're going to have too much work. We're going to have too much work on our plate, and that's a real thing. So a lot of people are only hitting a glass ceiling in their business revenue wise, how much money they're bringing in every month, how much money they're bringing in every year, because you can only do so much as you, or even if you have a team, y'all can only do so much. At some point, you have to say, okay, how do I use technology and software and all of these things so I can have minimal human output? Because that's the real question. That's what automations are, right?
Yep.
By definition. And so it's like, if you're not thinking about that, if you don't have a plan in place to say, okay, I need to reach more people, check, I already know that. Well, how am I going to reach these people? How am I going to email 10,000 people a day? That's a real question. How am I
Yeah.
going to text 500 people a day? That's a
Yep.
real question. And out of those emails and texts, you may convert 10 or 20, if that. And so you have to repeat that cycle every single day so that you can stay in business, because you have to be revenue generating. So that means you need to be making money every day, every week, every month. And if you're not, that's why you're having side jobs and all of the things, because you're trying to find a way to make money to feed yourself, feed your family, when truly your product is good enough, your service that you provide is good enough. It just needs to reach more people. That's your biggest problem. And just being able to have access again to technology, like, I don't think we understand how blessed we are right now. We really don't.
For sure, for sure.
Sorry.
Nah. I know you get passionate about that stuff, and I think it's beautiful, and I think that's why you're so amazing at what you do, because it's like, hey, I've seen you. You know what I'm saying? Like, now it's getting to bed. Now I gotta make sure this is good. The next person be like, I'll handle that tomorrow, but you have a passion. You know what I'm saying, for your clients, and I feel like we could poll any one of our clients, or we can interview any one of our clients, and they'll tell you the same. So it's a thing. That it's a thing where it's like you have to allow yourself to be led in certain areas. You know what I'm saying? You do not want to be the smartest person in the room. So with that being said, it's like, all right, cool. Let me go. I've gotten to this spot in my business where I feel like I'm good. I'm making money, generating money every day or whatever. But what is it going to take for me to actually scale? Like you said, a lot of these business owners hitting the glass ceiling. We hit a glass ceiling, and you have to know. You have to really be aware when it's time to pivot. And when I say pivot, it doesn't mean that you have to switch industries or close down, but actually say, okay, what is the next thing that I could implement in my business that is going to take me to the next level? And
Facts.
right now, that's automation, man.
It's automation, and I'm so excited because it truly is, the sky's the limit. Like, I know everybody knows Ken as the video guy and the photographer and the graphic designer and the web designer, but he's actually amazing in research and development. Okay, that's literally how we were able to build Paymac to the level that we built it, because he was always like, okay, what's next? How can I make my videos better? How can I make my editing better? And he would research. And so, as head of R&D for the Back End Bestie, when we came up with the software, that was you saying, Nas, there's a better way to do this. Like, you still doing it the long way. You know what I mean? Like, there has to be a better way to do this. So you're like, let's hire some people who know things that we don't know, and let's get them to build the things that you need. Tell them your process. And that's literally what I was able to do. Because I build processes, I was able to automate these processes. And that's the first thing I think. Even if you're not in a place where you're like, okay, I'm going to hire someone to do this, you yourself need to understand your processes in your business. What are your standard operating procedures, right? We all have them. I don't care if you cut hair, cut grass, do nails, sell products, whatever it is that you do, you have to have some operating procedures in your business for it to run. Period. You have to have your key activities in your business for it to run. And
So hold
so
on, before you go
what?
off on a tangent, because I know you
I'm
love to
sorry.
do that and you educate these people, man. Say it in layman's term for us, these SOPs. What is
This
it,
is not
man?
layman's terms. Okay.
Put it in layman's term.
So standard operating procedures in layman's term just means how are you going to, how does this outcome happen? Right? So
I
the
do it, man, because
process. Yeah,
my wife is
I'm not good at
worded.
whatever you're asking me.
Basically, what is the process of how you do what you do? You know what I'm
There
saying?
we go.
Like if you cut hair, you know what I'm saying? When you come in, what clipper do you use first? You know what I'm saying? Then, what guard do you use for this? These different things, how do you go through your process to get to the end result? You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
And
there we go.
if you don't know that, then that's something that you have to start with first, because you can't begin to automate anything in your business if you don't know what it takes to actually run the business.
Right. That part. And so it comes either way. So a lot of people are doing processes, but they don't even realize they're doing it because why? It's not documented. So one quick and easy way to start with your SOPs, your standard operating procedures, is to just document your process. Literally, when I say document your process, write down what you're doing. It's so funny. When I worked at Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, I was in revenue cycle. So it was the money department. This the cash goals. We had daily cash goals. So we were in charge of making sure that the bills were getting paid. And so literally I came into a position that never existed. I had to really create the position. And they had me sitting beside people to learn what they did so that I could monitor what they did. And I sat with like 4 or 5 people. And I'm like, y'all all do the same thing differently. There's no standard. There was no standard. And it was like, what? This is my way and this is my way. And I'm like, okay, but what's the right way? Is there a right way? And there is a right way, right? Like, of course, when you get comfortable with things, you could start tweaking your processes. But in order for you to employ people, to have people treating your customers right, doing your business correctly, you need to have a standard that you follow so that no matter who walks in that door, no matter who sits in that seat, there's consistency. So that was the first thing I did. I created a training manual for that specific department so that everyone could have an idea of doing it the right way. You get what I'm saying? And making sure, because I cannot ding you for doing something your way if there's no standard, right? And so that was my thing. I'm like, look, we have to create a standard so that when I'm giving feedback and all of the things, everyone has a clear understanding on what the expectations are. Same thing for your small business. Every single person that works in your small business, whether it's a contractor, even with contractors, having a digital marketing agency, we've dealt with a lot of clients where we have to create branding materials for them. Well, guess what you can't do? It's hard. It's very hard to create branding materials if you don't have a brand.
I'm
You
telling
need a
you.
brand. That's a standard. That's a standard for your business.
Take that from the person that has to actually do the graphic design, man. Like,
Why is it hard? What makes it hard? Why is it such a big deal?
because it's like, you have to have a base. You know what I'm saying? You have to have a starting point to actually create these graphics. And if you don't know your colors, if you don't have an actual logo, if you don't have a actual branding or a brand ID, I would say, or a brand identity, I would say, then it's going to be hard to be able to be cohesive. Put your brand out there and make cohesive stuff that like all tie together. One thing that you could you can see this with is when you think of McDonald's, what do you think of?
The red and yellow
Think
and
of
the
the red and
arch.
yellow. Think of the arch.
Mm-hmm.
So if I
Mm-hmm.
design anything for McDonald's, what am I gonna
Hint,
use?
hint. Holla at us, McDonald's.
Holla
Paymac
at
is
us,
still
please.
existing.
Holla at us,
Yeah.
McDonald's. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
what are you going? What am I gonna start with? I'm gonna start with the red and yellow, or you know what I'm saying. I'm gonna probably incorporate the golden arch. This is
Mm-hmm.
gonna make my job easier, and it's gonna allow me to do my best, and it's gonna make working with that person easier.
Yeah.
Like, bro, nobody want to work with a person that every time you come see them, they do something different. Especially like if they, they doing your hair or something like that, doing your nails or something like that. You wouldn't want to go
Mm-hmm.
to a person that's every time you go, they doing
You
it a
don't know
different
what you
way.
gonna
You
get.
don't know what
Yeah,
you're
you
gonna
don't
get.
know. Mm-hmm.
And I think that's very powerful. Get your SOPs right, man. Because in order to be able to produce at a high level, you have to know exactly how you got to the end, to the end result. You have to know how to produce that every single time. And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
if you automate, these if you understand your processes and you automate that, you'll have time to implement things that'll make it even better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Make
Yeah.
it even better.
And honestly, the beauty of it all is there experts do exist too, right? Like you are an expert. So even in the times where people came to us and they didn't have a brand, you figured it out, you made it do what it do. But
I ain't
ultimately,
like
right,
it.
I
I
know
ain't
you
like
didn't like it. And honestly, I
it.
feel like those
I ain't like
clients,
it.
they didn't love their stuff to the level of what we would want them to. And that's because it's like, well, we don't know what you want. You don't even know what you want because you don't
Yeah.
have a base. You don't have a standard. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Um, but for what I do, a lot of people come to me and don't know their processes. And so I create one. I create your process for you and then I automate it. So there is one way to do it. I've even actually created a chat bot in Chat GPT so that you can identify your processes. You can type in what the role is and then it'll give you your processes and even tell you how to automate it. So you
Hey, go.
can check that
Hey,
out.
show 'em what that look like. You could share your screen real quick. Show 'em what it look like.
Oh, we being fancy today. Okay.
Yeah, show 'em what it look like.
And I was going to drop the link too so that you guys can have it. And this is, it doesn't matter what version of chat you have. You can have any version of chat. And let me share my screen. And you can pull this up. So it is called the SOP Automation Expert. So when you go to Explore GPTs, that's where you'll find it. And you could type, can you see my screen?
Yep, I can see your screen.
Oh,
They can see it on Facebook.
okay. You can type in the role. So give me a position.
Let's do a barber. I think we was talking about that
Okay.
earlier. So let's do a barber.
Okay. I am a barber. What are my SOPs? Is it really that simple? Let's see what it does. Can y'all see this?
Wow.
So what is this saying to you? You're a barber. The first thing it says is your objective is to ensure efficient scheduling and management of client appointments. Well, how do you do that? Appointment scheduling, checking availability, booking appointments, confirming appointments, set reminder. Guess what? Guess what, guys? That should be automated. Walk-in client management. Now, if this part right here is automated, guess what you could do better? This part right here. The walk-in, the greeting, the making sure the cut is right. This part right here, appointment modifications, that should be automated. Why? Because you don't have time to be going back and forth with somebody when they need to reschedule because they double book themselves like I do all the time. You don't have time. You don't have time if they need to cancel altogether, not even reschedule. You get what I'm saying? Because when that person cancels, it's up to you as a business owner to hit them up in 2 weeks like, hey,
What's
You still need that
happening?
haircut? 50% off next week. Hey, you get what I'm saying? Automations need to do that for you because you're not going to be able to do it. So here you go, losing customers because they canceled and they never heard from you again, right? That's a thing. Daily appointment review. This is something that once automated, all you have to do is check your calendar. And so now we
Stay,
have
stay, stay,
clients
stay
that
right there. Stay right there before
what?
you do that. So the daily appointment review. So
Mhm.
that is something like that. Basically, what you're saying is that for me? Like, so is that
Yeah, so the
internal?
barber will do that. So the barber can pull up their calendar and look at their calendar and say, okay, I have 5 heads to cut today. My first one's at 10, my last one's at 6. So you know how to plan for your day.
Yeah, but they also have apps that do this. But I
It's
know
not
that
automated.
it's not automated,
It's
and
not a lot of automation in it.
it's not a lot of automation in it. And if it does have automation, you might have to like get with another app just to be able to put everything all together. I know a lot of the
Right. And
clients that we're working with, that's one of their pain points. Is like, I have these
yeah.
scheduling apps, I have these email apps, I have all these different things, and it's like all of them don't talk to each other, man.
Yeah. And I guess I should rephrase that because automations are available in most of these apps, but they got to be set up correctly. They got to be set up in a way where the process makes sense. Like I said, for customer retention, for, making sure that when the holidays are coming up, you have those promotions going, all of that good stuff. So I think the bigger part of the conversation is, while we have access to this technology, do you have the bandwidth to learn a new skill?
Man, I'm telling you, and I
Because
could
you ain't trying
say,
to do this part.
man, I tell you, like, we've been working on this software for almost, it's been great. You know what I'm saying? I can't lie, I like it. But the biggest thing that has been it's just been crazy. It's just like all of the research, all of the trying to make sure that we got everything in there to do everything that we need to do efficiently,
Yeah.
and provide the customer with a great experience. Because not only were we building a software, we also were building a company where we helping people we're actually doing all of the automations for them, and
Hmm.
then you know educating them on how to use it,
Yeah.
and also providing that service. So it's just been a thing where it's like, okay, if I had to do this and it was just me, it would be just, oh man, it'd just be so hard, man, to be able to do this and also keep up a job and also try to pay the bills. It just would be, I
Take
don't even
care
want
of
to
your
think about
kids,
it, man. I don't even want to think about it, man.
all the things. But I think the point is it does exist. And I am going to or I'm not going to drop anything. You can comment below if you
Comment
would
below.
like.
What you want
If
in the
you're like,
comment?
oh, um I didn't plan this, so they can just comment anything
It's
and they'll
prompt two.
get how
How about
none
this?
of this is planned.
How about this? Comment SOP bot. How about that?
There we
SOP
go. You
bot.
can comment SOP bot and then you'll get the automation expert so that you can play with it. You can see how can you refine processes in your business, because I promise you, I can really promise this. There's not a lot of things that I can guarantee in life because I'm not God, but I can guarantee you, when you have your processes in order, I don't care what business you're in, I don't care if it's nonprofit, ministry, whatever the case may be, when you have proper processes in order, you will see more success. Period.
You'll be able
It's
to operate
impossible
totally
not
different.
to.
Yeah,
Yes,
you'll be.
and you'll have less headache. You'll have less stress in life. You won't have people hitting you up like, "Hey, I thought you were supposed to send me XYZ," or "I thought," you get what I'm saying? Like, because you'll have a checks and balances. That's one key thing that I'm building heavily in all the automations that we're developing are checks and balances. right? So like, we have a system that we developed specifically for vocational schools. So regardless of what vocational school you have, we have built an automation for your school from registration to graduation and everything in between. And one thing that I'm really, really heavy on is the checks and balances, because it's technology. And so you need a way to make sure that it's working correctly the way it needs to work and all the good things. So, again, this is my passion. This is my wheelhouse. By no means am I saying on this live that everybody on here needs to go out tomorrow and get a PhD in automation, because absolutely not. And to be quite honest, when things are not your passion, you don't do it as well anyway. So it's good to continue this conversation. And my goal is to continue giving you the education that you need and not be long-winded about it. I'm working on that this year. So and put it in layman's terms so that y'all can understand this and really apply it to your business and start seeing results from it.
For sure. I mean, sure, you pretty much summed it up then. Pretty much summed it up. But yeah, man, yeah, that was cool, man. This was cool.
And guys, let's vote in the comments. Tell Ken that he has to go live with me every time I go live, because
Oh,
I
Lord.
feel very weird talking to the computer, or really the camera. It's even weirder, y'all, because I'm literally looking at a camera. I'm not even looking at a person. And so I need Ken to go live with me all the time so that I can do better with educating my audience and the community on how to make technology work for them.
I'm here, man. I'm here. I'm here regardless if they do it. I'm here, man. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just here to, be an open book, man. And if you guys need anything for as the automation, or you guys want to chat about entrepreneurship or anything, drop it down in the comments, send a DM, subscribe. Let's keep this conversation going so that we can encourage each other, man. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
we don't know everything, but the things that we do know, we know them well. So we want to be able to
Yes.
just
I like that. Can I take that? Can I use that?
hey, you know what I'm saying? It's a little something, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. So yeah, man, I appreciate everybody that tuned in. This will
Yes.
be a replay. It will be there for replay. So and also, man, join the Run the Automation group. Definitely join the Run the Automation group. That is
Don't join
something.
in yet, because I gotta get my life together. And I'm sorry for the
What?
people. I'm sorry for the
What?
people who joined and I've been neglectful.
I'm about to get on it right now. I'm getting on it. So, you know what I'm saying? We're going to definitely drop more stuff in there. The SOP bot will be in there and everything too. But we're going to wait. We're going to wait. We're going to wait at least 2 days to see if we get some comments on the SOP bot. We want to give it to y'all first. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yes.
y'all, y'all,
SOP expert. Drop
SOP
it in the
expert.
comments.
SOP. Well, we said SOP bot, babe. Can't change it
Oh,
up. We
sorry.
say
See?
SO,
That's why
SOP.
that's not my ministry. That's not my
SOP bot,
ministry.
SOP bot. So yeah, man, we're gonna try to do this, guys willing, Tuesdays and Thursday, man. So y'all be on the lookout. Appreciate y'all tuning in, and we signing
Oh,
off.
I do have one more plug though, because we
What's up?
do have Bible study every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And it's been on my heart to let people know that, because it has blessed us severe, like, I mean, in so many ways. The last 2 years, we've been doing it every Wednesday, and it has blessed all the people on the line. So if you're looking for a space where you can learn more about the Bible, you can sharpen your sword with like-minded individuals, or even if you know nothing about the Bible, we're inviting you to join us. Faith Walk Ministries, we meet every Wednesday, like I said, on Zoom. You don't have to have your camera on, with even though we would like you to. You don't even have to talk, even though we would like you to. But you need something to get you through this life, honestly. And sometimes that thing is conversations that help you see God in a different way, change your perspective so that you can grow. So
You can't work yourself to the ground, man. I think
you
that's
can't.
that's the thing. The revelation that God gave me, yesterday is like, I didn't put you here to, just run yourself into the ground. He said, be fruitful and multiply. The only way that you're gonna be able to do that is if you, start like you wanted to continue. So it's like, hey man, lay a good foundation. So when it's time to say, all right, I'm about to move on and do something else, not give up the business, but I'm gonna move on and do something else because I scaled it. I can go over here and do something else, and it could be just as successful. So I think
Yeah.
that's a biggest thing, man. So yeah,
If you want to come to Bible study, comment Bible study. Are we doing that? Comment Bible study below, and we'll invite you to the Zoom as well. Starting
for sure.
tomorrow, we'll be on tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern.
For sure, for sure. All hearts are clear. All hearts are clear.
I have nothing left to say. I'm done.
Okay, man, we out of here, man. I appreciate y'all tuning in.